Hello, and welcome to the updated video tutorial for Majora's Mask 80%. Um, it's going to be similar to the last one, but there's a couple things I omitted from the last one, and in addition we found some new stuff to make things faster, primarily a new Heap manip. And so I just kind of wanted to showcase that all in one video, so there'd be one place for people to look for things. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing on the agenda is what file names we're going to use. So the file name you're playing on should be, it's listed on the screen, but it should be that 820 Twilight Princess, the U character, and then 0F. So let me show what that is like. So 820 TP for Twilight Princess, and then this character, and then 0F. That's the one you should be playing. Once you get your ocarina and place on a time on top of the clock tower, you're going to create a file, a second file, and it doesn't matter what slot it goes in, it just needs to be the most recently created file, and you have to have not reset since you created it. Those are the only restrictions. But anyway, the file name is 87S. If you're on JP 1.0, the fourth character is this one. And then the rest of it will be the same between the two versions. So it's this one. As Kyle likes to call it, this is Horseshoe, and Kyle would call this one Tornado. I don't know if I have names for them myself, but I think those are pretty clever names. And then a space, and then this character, and you want to add a quote to it, like that. But the faster way to do it would be to just hit Z once. And then you would hit end. If you are on JP 1.1, the only character that's different is this one, and that should be a K. So let me go through typing it for JP 1.1 just so you can see what the cursor movement looks like. 87SK 0, or not 0, Horseshoe Tornado, and then put the quote on it, and there you go. But since I'm playing on 1.0 right now, we'll just go ahead and change that back. There we go. Okay, so this is the most recently created file as of our last reset, and then normally after you create that up on top of the clock tower, you would go ahead and start this file, which, well, you would start playing on it, but you've already saved twice, so it won't be like a new file. You'll have your ocarina, and you'll need to go talk to HMS to get Deku Mask. Well, really to turn human. You don't really care about Deku Mask in this category, but you'll need to talk to him to turn human. So normally you would start this one, but since I don't have anything on that right now, I'm just gonna start this one. Since this is just a demonstration. The credits warp won't actually work anyway. I don't know why. I think it's because it's on KZ. But anywho. So yeah, normally you would go into HMS and turn human, and then once you're human, you're just gonna go into East Clocktown. And you're gonna talk to this guy, and you're gonna leave. So now we need to go farming for bombs. We need 2 bomb drops to do the fastest heap, which is the only heap I'm going to discuss in this video. I'm going to make a second video that's a appendix video that'll show all the different options for heap manips. There's a few that only require 1 drop. But anyway, we're just going to farm for some bombs. There we go. So that was 1 drop. And yeah, like I said, we need 2 drops for this. Now, granted, I'm playing on KZ, so I have infinite bombs. But this was just a demonstrate. Okay, so we got our 2 bomb drops, now what do we do? we need to get into Observatory, which is right over here. But there is a giant fence in the way. Oh no, what are we gonna do about that? Well, there's a lot of things we can do about it. So the first thing is we can HESS through the crack over here. This one. This corner is an acute angle, and so we're actually able to clip through this in a number of different ways. And the fastest one would be to HESS, and so that's what I'm going to demonstrate. You can HESS with a bomb, but I actually prefer to do it... Well, okay, I messed it up that time. But I actually prefer to do it off these guys. I just think it's easier, and it looks really cool. So you're just going to come to this corner... and clip through this fence. Sometimes that can happen and you can go out of bounds instead of through the fence. It's unfortunate. I don't know a really good way around it. The best thing I can say is it's usually better if your back is up against the fence and your ESS left. You do ESS left to clip through. Oops, that was way too early. My bad. I jumped the gun there a little bit. This also saves a bomb if you HESS off the real bomb shoes. You don't need to save a bomb, but it can be helpful. Oh, whoops. So yeah, that time my back was up against the rock wall and I was doing ESS right to get through. That one seems to have a higher chance of clipping out of bounds. Okay, I'm having a hard time seeing that guy because of the camera angle. That's why I keep failing it when I do it on him. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Ah! Stupid choo-choo messed me up. Well, I guess this is a good time to... Well, okay, no, this guy's gonna come bother me now. I guess this is a good time to demonstrate that you can do this with a regular HESS too. Okay, so yeah, have your back up against here, and then ESS left to clip through. Oh my gosh. So yeah, like I said, the problem with the HESS method is that you can clip out of bounds, and one way you can avoid that is by getting ISG first, but instead of clipping, you'll just get stuck in the corner and lose all your speed, which also isn't good. So yeah, so basically the HESS method is, it's fast, but it's not as safe as some of the other methods. Oops. I'm trying to get it so I can show you. There we go, there we go. And it was even off a real bomb shoe. And then, yeah, you're just gonna HESS to the door and go right on through, like that. So that's the fastest method. Granted, I realized that took me a lot of tries to not clip out of bounds. And I wish I had a better description for how to avoid that, but yeah, basically the best I can say is have your back against the fence and do ESS left to go through, as opposed to having your back against the rock wall and doing ESS right to go through. That just seems to be a little more consistent. Anyway, so that's the first and fastest method, assuming you get it first try, of course. Oops. So then the next method, and this one's a good method for if like you don't get first try bombs and you have to farm these two grasses anyway, and so you're already kind of over here. But the next method is, basically we're going to do a shield turn right, and then one ESS left. Okay, that was two. One ESS left like that, and then we're going to do a side hop. But first, we're going to have to drop a bomb. I just wanted to demonstrate the motion. So it'll look like that, except there's going to be a bomb that, since we side hop right, it's going to push us left, which is what we want. So anyway, let me demonstrate that. Oops, I jumped a little too early there. But I have the angle now, so I can just drop this bomb. And zip clip right through. as you can see. And then you would just go over here and open this door. The fastest is if you can drop the bomb right after targeting the wall and do the rest of the setup. But as you can see there, I didn't get it that fast, so I just had to drop a second bomb, which is, it's fine. I mean, that's always an option as well. So let me see if I can do it all in one take. Oh, I jumped too early. Oh my goodness. I'm like way jumping the gun here. You need to jump kind of late for this. There we go. Yeah, like that. And I've never clipped out of bounds with this side hop method. So yeah, I definitely recommend that one. There's also another side hop method you can do if you don't like the shield turn. Notice that the shield turn gives slightly inconsistent values. So like that time it gave A57A. This time, okay, that time it also gave A57A. That time it gave A574, and usually it's worse. It kind of depends on the camera angle, I feel like, a little bit too. A5C2. So yeah, it's not always the same, because diagonals aren't zeroed. Well, neither are cardinals in N64. Basically, the stick just isn't zeroed at all, so it's not always going to give you the same thing. But it's close enough for this clip, so it doesn't really matter. But if you'd really prefer, you can do an ESS-only method, which is to target this wall, do 12 ESS right, for, oops, I just passed it, 9E90. And then you can do that same thing that I just showed you, so... The advantage with that method is the camera is such that you can see the bomb while targeting. Notice that when I was in this corner, I had to, like, only target at the last second. Okay, so that time I did I just went really, really late. So that was, like, a really, really good recoil hop. Or recoil flip. It wasn't really a flip because I wasn't doing a backflip. But, yeah, so the only time I've ever clipped out of bounds like that is if I get, like, a frame-perfect, like, best ever recoil side hop. But that so rarely happens that I don't think it's a huge concern. But yeah, if you do this method, whoops, there we go, and you backwalk into the fence, notice, well, okay, that time it was fine. Sometimes the camera will mess up if you do that, and you won't be able to see. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, so the camera can do this if you backwalk into the fence, and you can't see anything. So if that happens, you'll just need to do like this, and just wait until the last second to target, like in the other setup. But if you're doing this setup, you can avoid that and always get a good camera angle by just like trying not to touch the fence when you're walking over. Like I did my first time, like I just sidewalked so that way I wouldn't touch the fence. And yeah, for all of these, you need to get a pretty good side hop, which means a late one, like close to when the bomb explodes. Like, if I do it really early, I don't flip. Now, you can also do this with the recoil flip, but I find that the recoil flip sometimes sends me out of bounds. So sometimes it'll let you go through just fine, but yeah, I like the side hop method because I've never clipped out of bounds with it. Oops. But yeah, the flip method also works. And I think, and it also works for this as well, this method. You can do a flip instead of a side hop. Like I said, I just find that I'm a little more accurate with the side hop, so that's why I like that one, but... Whoops. Yeah, so this can sometimes happen if you do a recoil flip, especially with the setup in the corner. I find it happens more often with that one than with the other one, if you do a flip. But if you do a really early recoil flip, oops, I guess I'm not really getting as much speed as I would like. If you do a really early recoil flip, then, it's not a problem. Like, you'll only clip out of bounds if you do a late recoil. So like... Okay, that was a bad example. So let me do an early one. So yeah, it's totally safe if you do it early like that. It's only if you get like a really good recoil flip that you'll flip. Kind of same with the side hop, it's just the problem's a little more severe. Like, the extent of it is worse. So like, you don't need as good of a recoil flip to clip out of bounds as you do a recoil hop, which isn't really a term, because we don't really do recoil side hops in this game, but they exist. And yeah, I think it's really helpful in this particular instance. Anyway, that's another way that you can flip through there. Another thing you can do, which I really, really do not recommend this one to anybody, like there's really no reason to do this one, but if you're just really opposed to clicking for some reason, oh my god. You can do a staircase hover. And I've actually never done one here, so give me a hot second here. Oops. Oh, that was close. That was also close. Why am I not hovering? I'm so confused. I feel like that bomb isn't hitting me. Okay, that time I just... There we go. Okay. And then you can just hover the rest of the way in. Ah, shit. That wasn't enough hovers. Okay, those are way too close. Those are gonna explode actually, for sure. Yeah. This is why I don't recommend this method to anybody, but I wanted to demonstrate it for completeness. There we go. Okay. So yeah, there's a number of reasons I really don't recommend that method. One is that it's pretty hard. Two is that it uses a lot of bombs. Three is that it's kind of slow. And yeah, those are basically all the reasons. And I guess D would be that there's much better alternatives available. So like, if you're not comfortable with the HESS and the chance of clipping out of bounds and that kind of thing, the two recoil methods are great. There's also other setups for this, like I've seen Kyle do one that's like a shield turn and then 3 ESS. I think, yeah, like this, and this one should also work. Yeah. So yeah, that's another option as well for the flip method. There's a ton of setups for this that work, like I said. The two that I listed earlier are just the ones that I like to do. But yeah, there's a lot of them. You can just pick one that you like. Anyway, so those are 3 of the methods to get in. And then for the final method, some of you may not have known this, but there's actually a Deku flower over here. And so yeah, this is how the devs actually want you to get into Observatory, and it's an option in any percent. It's not the fastest option, in fact it's probably the slowest, except for the staircase hover might be slower. It kind of depends, because putting on Deku Master the first time is kind of slow, but it's probably better than 4 bombs. But yeah, so that's another way you can do it. Anyway, so yeah, you finally made it into Observatory. Congratulations. So actually, wait. Let me show this again. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get downstairs, and There's a lot of different ways you can do this, but what I like to do is I like to hold down left on my control stick, and then do 2 rolls. So 1, and then I wait a little bit, and then do the second roll. The main reason I don't do both rolls right away is that I end up getting stuck on this railing here. This railing really likes to grab onto you. It's really... Like, see how much it's grabbing onto me there? It's frustrating. It looks paper thin, but it really, really grabs onto Link pretty strongly. But anyway, so let me demonstrate that again. So yeah, basically do 1 roll, walk past the railing, and then do another roll. So down left roll, walk past the railing, do another roll, and then you end up down here. And I try to just line up Link's angle kind of with the bottom of the red staircase with his feet, like I am right now. And then do a side hop, and hold back, and hold A. And then you should just fall right down. That's the one that I like to do. And if you're also holding, once you start dropping, if you start holding down, you'll do a roll right when you land, which is kind of what we want for this, because it'll bring you closer to the pots, and the pots are where we're going next. Oops, oh my gosh, Scarecrow, shut up. Sorry, I messed it up there. Well, get it though. There, like that. So I didn't even press A, I was just holding like down right. So that put me here. So the first thing we're going to want to do is break all these pots and grab all the rupees. And then I like to come over here and target this box. You don't have to do this, and in fact targeting that box is kind of slow because you're starting over here. But this is a thing you can do. This is like a safer strat because it always gives you a nice angle of 800. But you could also just like walk over here and target this way. But then sometimes it gets a little skewed, so it can be a little annoying. Basically, we're going to be backwalking here. We don't have to backwalk. You can do any movement you like here, but I just prefer the backwalking method. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to backwalk and pull a bomb, and then go into hideout, and then I'll pause and explain the rest. Oh, whoops. I didn't backwalk far enough. Let me fix that. I can do this heap manip really well when I'm not trying to explain things. But yeah, when I'm explaining stuff, it's a little harder to concentrate on what I'm doing. So let me just explain first. So we're going to backwalk all the way into hideout with the bomb. It's going to explode. When a bomb explodes, there's like some red explosion particles. We're going to wait for those to go away, and then we're going to enter Observatory. And the reason for that is that we're trying to allocate the smoke that happens after a bomb explodes, but not the bomb itself, and it takes the bomb a while to go away once it explodes. It's not too long, it's like half a second. But yeah, so I just like to wait for the explosion particles to be gone, and that's my visual cue for knowing that the bomb should be gone. So anyway, we're going to pull a bomb, we're going to go all the way into hideout, it's going to explode, I'm going to wait, and then I'm just going to go back in. You have 3 seconds to go back in, approximately, before the smoke completely dissipates. So it's fairly lenient, but you do want to, like, you don't want to, like, be super lackadaisical about it. Okay, so now we're back in here. I'm going to shield drop the bomb, and then pull a bomb and backwalk, and we're just going to do the same thing. The only difference is that once the bomb explodes, instead of entering Observatory again immediately, we're going to drop 3 bombs first, and then enter Observatory. So let me demonstrate that all in one go. Oh, whoops. I didn't have a good backwalk there. I should start backwalking before I drop the bomb. There we go. Now notice the bombs didn't explode there. If you're not super fast, they're gonna explode. And that's fine. The only thing that matters is that you get past the first loading plane before they explode. There's actually 2 loading planes in this loading transition actor here. There's one closer to Observatory and there's one closer to Hideout. And all you have to do is get through the one closer to Hideout, and you'll know if you've gotten through that one because you'll hear the cuckoo start to cluck. So yeah, as long as you hear the cuckoo clucking before the explosion happens, if there's an explosion, that's fine. Anyway, so that's the entire Heap manip. It's really, really fast. So now we're going to get inverted cam. If you get it slightly to the left, like kind of more like this direction, it'll be easier to see the bomb. But it'll also be a little bit slower because you're going to run into the wall a little bit more. So the super slide will take just a little bit longer. But it's not a huge deal. Okay, so I come over to where this corner is, and I drop it there. Oops. I accidentally walked too far backward. And you're going to let go of target around the time that you hit the brick wall. And then you're going to come over here, bring the pot back, and now depending on what version you have, you're going to do a different setup with it. So I guess I'll show the 1.0 setup first. So for 1.0, you're going to come over here and target this wall for an angle of 2 AAC, and then you're going to do 41 ESS right until you get to A64. The visual cue I like to use is the sword peeking out from the back of Link's shield. This is the second frame you can see the sword. So if I go 1 frame further, I can just barely see the hilt of the sword, and that's not the frame that I want. I want the frame after that. So this frame. Oops. I messed it up. So this frame. That frame, yeah. And then you're going to shield drop. Now, one thing that I want to take note of in this video that I did not talk about in my last video is the way ESSing works. So if I just target this wall and hold ESS right, eventually Link stops moving. And here, I'll show that again. And notice how it's a different value every single time. I mean, it wouldn't be if I was on Wii. It would be the same value. It's just because N64 doesn't zero the notches. But regardless, it's not a value that we want, because when we do ESS, notice that the value is 2 AAC to start. I do 1 ESS, and look at the last digit. It's a 4 now. And then, again, well, that was a bunch, but it's a C. I'm trying to just show one at a time. So it goes from C to 4. Oops, those 2. To C, to 4, to C, to 4. The last digit is always C or 4. That's because ESSing rotates you by 708 in hexadecimal every time. So, like, basically the last digit always increases by 8, and that's the behavior we're after. But if you just hold until Link spins all the way around, so like this, it doesn't give you that behavior anymore. So basically, what you're trying to avoid is you don't want Link to stop spinning because he catches up to the direction you're holding on the stick. If Link stops spinning, you want it to be because you release to neutral. So like if you look at my input display here, I released to neutral just there. And notice how I still have like a C and a 4, or a 4 in the angle. So yeah, it's okay to stop if you're releasing to neutral, but what's not okay is to stop because you just keep holding ESS. This time it did give me a C, but that's just a fluke. It did mess up the angle. So yeah, basically, if he stops moving, it better be because your stick is in neutral. Because if it's because you kept holding ESS, that's not good. Now you can keep holding ESS, it's just you have to rotate the stick as Link rotates. So like, see how far that I got before Link stopped? That's because I was rotating my stick in like a U shape. And if I do this really well, I can actually do it in a circle and like go all the way in one shot. It's a little bit tricky, Okay, that was pretty close. But I didn't quite make it all the way. Okay, that time I messed up. Link caught up to me. So we need to do it a little faster. Okay, well, that was pretty close. You can see what I mean. But see how I still can get A64? And if I go this way and Link catches up, and then I try to do the rest of it, and I look for my visual cue, which is this one. See how it's 752 and not A64? So that's what I mean by it messes up your angle. So, yeah, basically, just don't let Link catch up. You have to... So the ways you can avoid that is just do discrete stick movements. So I went down right, then I went down left, and I'm going up left, and then up right, and releasing to neutral each time. That's probably the easiest method, but it's a little slow because every time you stop and start, it takes extra time to start up again. So yeah, the fastest would be to just rotate slightly ahead of Link the whole way through. Well, okay, that time Link caught up to me. I'm trying to demonstrate it, but it is a little tricky. Because you need to be in ESS the entire time, and you need to be going fast enough that Link doesn't catch up. Okay, but that was pretty close. That wasn't like all the way, but it was pretty close. And yeah, so I still get my A64 ranking. So anyway, that has been a brief tutorial on how ESSing works in Zelda 64. So both OOT and MM work this way. I believe OOT does. For sure MM does. I'm pretty sure OOT does too. Anyway, so now the actual 1.0 part of the tutorial starts. I'm gonna just include that as something that the 1.1 people should watch as well, because it's important. So anyway, here's where I'm gonna put the timestamp for 1.0. So if you're on 1.0, after you get to the Super Slide pod, you're gonna come over to this wall. You can target anywhere along this wall that you want. It all gives you 2 AAC. But I like to do it in this corner because it's close to the staircase, which is where we're gonna do our next thing. And you're going to do 41 ESS right to A64. And I look for the hilt of the sword. The second frame I can see it, so... I'm trying to show the first frame. So yeah, that frame you can just barely see it peeking out. That's not the frame you want. I want the frame after that. So that frame. And then you're going to shield drop. You're going to come over here, target this wall for this railing for D563 as an initial input. And you're going to do ESS right until you hit 2CA3. The visual cue I use is Link's arm. Kind of looks like it's in a sling. It's actually Link's sash. His arm obviously isn't in a sling, but it looks like it. And if I go one too far, then it looks... You only see his hand, you don't really see his arm. So I like to see a little bit of his arm peeking out above the top of the quote-unquote sling, aka the sash. And if you don't go far enough, then you see like way too much of his arm. So yeah, I just like to see a little sliver of arm above the sash. That's how I know I got 2CA3. And then you're going to target, you come over here, and during this backflip, you don't have to do a backflip here, but I just like to do one because it's a quick way to draw your sword. And you need to have your sword drawn for the next part. So anyway, you're going to come over here, and I'm just going to demonstrate this, because it's a lot of stuff really fast, so I'll just show what it looks like first. Okay, so that gives that whole setup that I just did, which I will explain in detail in a bit, that gives 2E1C. And from there, we're going to do 31 ESS left, so we get A14. And the cue I like to use, so that's A14. The cue I use is Link's elbow there. The second frame I can see his skin is the frame that I want. So this is the first frame you can see his skin, and it's not very much skin. So I just go one frame further. The skin behind his shield is what I mean. So one frame further, that's the frame I want. If I go too far, then I see like way too much of his elbow. So that's the cue I use. You can use whatever cue you like. But anyway, you would normally press ocarina here, because this is your angle setup. You would press ocarina, place on the time, and hit yes. But I'm gonna explain that angle setup I did now that you've seen what it looks like. So first thing is to draw your sword. This is important because when you shield drop a bomb, whether your sword is drawn or not affects things if you do it instantly. what I mean by instantly, I call it instant dropping the bomb. There's 3 frames where if you shield drop the bomb, it gives the same value, and they're all like the 3 frames right at the beginning. So it's the first frame Link pulls the bomb, and 2 frames before that. Both of those frames. So all 3 of those frames will work for dropping the bomb, for pressing shield to drop the bomb. You can press shield on any one of those frames, and it will drop the bomb. And it will give you the same position of the bomb, which is what we're going for. So we're just going to instant drop the bomb like that within those first 3 frames, and then we're going to do a crouch stab or a quick draw to get our sword out again. And then we're going to do 2 jump slashes and a diagonal slash. So during the jump slashes, I just mash A to go as fast as possible, and then for the diagonal slash, you flick down right. Well, I usually flick between right and down right, but you can go either right or down right. It'll be fine. I just usually go in between, because that's the motion Link's sword makes, so like that. Before pressing B, I mean. So you flick, and then you press B. This is a horizontal slash, so we don't want to do that one. And that you get by flicking left before pressing B. And if you don't flick anything, you get a vertical slash, which is also not what we want. And if you flick forward, you get a thrust, which is also not what we want. We just want the diagonal slash. So flick down right, and that'll give you that. Now, one more thing that I want to note about this setup is, when I do a diagonal slash, notice how Link steps forward with his right foot and then pulls his left foot forward. See that? That actually ends up making him go pretty far forward, and it's so far forward that the bomb doesn't hit us, which is bad. So to avoid that, what you do is you untarget during the slash. So now, he takes a step with his right foot, but he transfers his weight to his left foot, and then he steps back with his right. So he ends up not going as far forward, which is what we're trying to do. The untarget window is pretty lenient. You just want to do it before he finishes the slash. So he finishes the slash when his slash is like in the down right kind of area. And you see just a little bit of it peeking behind his shield. So yeah, just do it before then. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect it as long as you do it. You don't have to wait for the targeting bars to untarget either. It's just, you just have to let go of Z. That's all the game cares about. It doesn't care if the bars have fully retracted. Just do it like that. So anyway, I'm gonna do this setup all in one go so you can see it. Oops, I messed it up. I tried to input the diagonal slash too quickly. So my sword's already drawn, which is good, because remember, your sword does need to be drawn before you drop the bomb. There we go, and that gives 2E1C. And then we do 31 ESS left. And I look for the second frame, I can see the elbow behind the arm. That's the 3rd frame, so I went too far. Oh my goodness. Oh, and as far as where you stand, basically just, if you're too far forward, you're going to hit that wall, which you don't want. If you're too far back, you're not going to be in the tunnel, which you also don't want. So I just like to stand kind of around here, like around where these corners in the floor are. In the planks in the floor. That's about where I stand. But yeah. It's pretty lenient, just stand somewhere kind of over here. Okay, that time, notice how I got 2E24? What that means is that my sword wasn't drawn when I dropped the bomb. That's only different by 8 units, but that makes a huge difference in this 80% setup. You will crash if you get that 2E24 angle instead of 2E1C. So yeah, make sure your sword is drawn before you instant drop the bomb. I'm not sure what went on there. I think I might have dropped the bomb too late. There we go. 2E1C. And yeah, remember, you have 3 frames to drop the bomb, so I think that time I dropped it like on the 4th or 5th frame or something like that. So yeah, it's pretty lenient, just do it quickly after pressing bomb. Okay, there's A14. Now you're gonna press ocarina here. I'm gonna crash because my file names aren't set up properly and I'm on KZ. So yeah, I crashed. I can start the crash debugger if I want. But yeah, if you crash, that means that the heap manip was correct. But that either your angles or your file name was wrong. Which could also be the angle you dropped the pod at. That could be wrong as well. But yeah, so if you crash, that means that the heap went perfectly. So we did the heap right. Hooray! Anyway, I'm going to show the 1.1 version now. So I will put a timestamp here for the 1.1 people. Oh boy, I hard crashed it. I had to do a hard power cycle there. So I'm actually going to boot the 1.1 KZ. Second one that I want, yeah. Okay, cool. And you can see the file names here already. So yeah, this would normally be the one that we're playing on, this 820 Twilight Princess one. And then this is the 1.1 file name, which is only different in the 4th character. It's a K for 1.1, and it's a Japanese character for 1.0. But yeah, anyway, so those are the file names, just to show them one more time. But this is the file that I actually have like stuff saved on, so we're gonna do this file. And I'm gonna warp there instead of walking, because I can do that, because this is KZ. Okay, so I know you've already seen the heat manip, so I'm just going to run through it one more time so I can get the invisible pot and show you what we're doing here. Oops. Oh, whoops. Okay, yeah, I messed that up. So if that happens, if you pull the bomb too early and it explodes, what you have to do is just make another bomb explode and wait this time, and then drop 3. And the heat should still be fine. It just means that you'll have wasted like 2 bombs if that happens. Okay, so now we have the invisible pot. So for 1.1, you're going to come over here. You're going to target this. That didn't work. Okay, yeah, I wasn't like fully in the box. So you walk forward into the box a little bit so that you're fully into it. And then it should give you AAB4. Like that. I don't really know what was happening there. Sometimes if you're just like a little bit off angle or something, it won't target properly. But yeah, so just get AAB4. Sometimes it helps to like target twice. So like target once and then walk in and target again. That's a good way to make sure you get the right angle. This happens on 1.0 as well, by the way. It's pretty much anytime you target a wall, like if you're not like perfectly facing it, sometimes it doesn't give you the exact right angle. Like if I'm a little bit to the left here, it'll just... It doesn't necessarily fix my angle when I'm a little bit to the right there. So yeah, just make sure that you're like actually targeting. And then you're gonna do... How many SS is it? 14? 14 to the left. That was to the right. To get D24. So one more, that was too many. There we go, D24. And the key I like to use is that if you look at Link's hip on the opposite side from where his shield is on, notice that you can't see his shield on this frame, on his opposite hip. And then if I go 1 frame more, I can see the shield all of a sudden. So yeah, that's the cue I use, is I just like look for there to not be a shield there. But I like to go like past it, to where I can see the shield, and then go one more, just because that's like a good visual cue for me. But you can use whatever cue you want. Anyway, once you get this, you're gonna shield drop, and then you're gonna come over here, run into this corner a little bit, target. It's gonna give you 90 EF, which is not the angle you want, so run into the box a little bit, and then target again, and so it'll give you ABE3, which is what you want. So yeah, remember for this one in particular, you have to walk in. If you target in the corner like this, you have to walk into the box before targeting again to get the right angle. The reason for that is that this corner in particular gives a different angle. It's a consistent angle, but it's not the angle we need. So yeah, the way to fix that is just walk in before targeting. So yeah, that gives me A9 FE, so I just walk in a little bit more. AB3, there we go. You can also target further left on the box, but then see how Tattle's like getting bothered by the Cucko? If you target, you'll target the Cucko. And it might crash your game because the camera might pan upwards towards the moon's tier, which will uncoil it and crash. So yeah, it's safer to go in this corner, but if you're aware of the Cucko cycle, I've actually gotten it to where like I can target the box right here before, and the Cucko doesn't bother me. So that would be the fastest. If you're going for like real speed, you would pay attention to the Cucko cycle and like go as far to the left on this box as you can, but I feel like that's a little outside the scope of this tutorial, so I'm just gonna not do that. But yeah, that's the thing you can do. And then once you get that angle, you're gonna come over here into the tunnel, and you're gonna do ESS to the right. I think it's 14. Oh wait, how many is it? It is 18. 18 to the right. So my visual cue for this is just when Link is fully facing the camera. So here I went too far, Link is facing slightly to the left of the camera, so... And that, I went too far the opposite direction, Link is facing slightly to the right. So that's the frame we want, he's looking right at the camera. It gives you 2D53 as your angle. You're going to target, you're going to do one ESS left, and place a bomb, and do a horizontal slash. And this gives you 2E1C. This is the same angle as your 1.0. I have no idea why this happened. It just so happened that both me and Turkenheimer found setups for this, and they both give you 2E1C. So since it's 2E1C, we're still gonna do 31 ESS right, just like in 1.0. In this case, the visual cue is a little different. So 814 is the angle we want, and the visual cue I use is I look at Link's shield. So on this frame, I can see like 80 to 90% of the shield. Not the shield, the wooden backing to the shield. And if I go one frame further, I can see a lot more of it. And if I go not far enough, I can barely see any of it. So I'm basically just looking for a little sliver on the right of the wooden backing of the shield to be covered by the silver of the front of the shield. That's the cue I use. Again, you can use whatever cue you want. And at this point, you're going to pull ocarina, place on a time, and select yes. I'm going to crash here because, again, my Filenames are not set up correctly, and I'm on KZ. But all the crash means is that I set up the heat correctly. The heat manip went well. So let me demonstrate that. So yeah, I got a crash. I can start the crash debugger if I want. Maybe I can do that. Yeah. But yeah, so that's this entire tutorial. Now, let me just do a demonstration with the actual credits warp so you can see what it looks like. Oh, I hard finished. So I'm going to do this on the actual version of the game, so that way I can demonstrate the credits warp part. I'm going to do 1.0 just because that's the one that I'm most used to. Since that's the version of the cart that I have. Actually, heck, we could do this on a... Let's do this on a real cart. One sec. Okay, so yeah, this is an official cart. There's no way for me to cheat with this, so you can just see what's going on. So first we're going to delete and recreate this file name, so that way it gets loaded into memory. So this is, for 1.0 it's 80, well, for all the versions it's 87S, for 1.0 it's this character, and then for all the versions it's these last 4. The space can be anything, but I recommend you use a space, and I will explain why once we do the credits work. Then I'm going to start this file. Normally, again, you'd have to go turn human with HMS, but this file already has that done. Because I would not want to make you sit through the HMS cutscene, because that's not very interesting. So we're going to farm for bombs. I need 2 drops. And I did not get any in the first push. And I did not get any in the second bush. Okay, I got 1. Can I get another one? No. Alright. So yeah, if you come in here and then leave, it'll reload the grass, so that's an option. You could also just like walk around Terminal Field looking for more grass, but I just prefer to reload. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna see if I can get another drop. I don't need it, but just to be safe. Okay, sweet. Okay. That'll be more than enough. Okay, and then I'm gonna do this method since I'm already over here. Cool, cool. And now we're just going to do the heat manip. Okay, so notice how the bombs exploded there? That's what I mean, it's like if you're not fast enough that can happen, but it doesn't actually matter. All it means is Link is going to be brightly colored until he drops his next bomb. Well, until the next bomb explodes, I guess. All that matters is that... Okay, that's... There we go. All that matters is that you go through the first loading plane, but the second one is what makes the bombs not explode. So, basically, long story short, exploding is a-okay. I'm gonna come over here, do the angle setup. Yeah, that's right. One more thing. And that is why I put a space in the file name, because the way I designed these file names is that whatever character you put where that space is will set the brightness. And space sets it to DF, which is very close to FF, which is like the darkest it can be. So if you can do another character on the hiragana screen, but it's only going to make it like a little bit dim, whereas this makes it like full black, which I just think looks really cool, and it also makes it very obvious that you've done it correctly. So yeah, you're going to play Song of Time. And hit yes. And then there you go. That is Majora's Mask credits in Observatory, using the fixed tier. The moon's tier is upstairs, and that's the thing that we're looking at to start running our custom code that we wrote. But yeah, that is moon's tier credits work. It's really, really fast. I think that a sub 24 is actually possible with like a really good run. I think that like a 2359 could be achieved. It'd be pretty hard. You have to get like perfect HMS basically, but and good bomb luck. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. Like considering that like 22 and a half minutes of this game is like unskippable intro, that it's technically possible to beat it in like 23xx is crazy. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful, and I hope that a lot more people will start running 80% because I think it's a really cool category. You can run on either Japanese 1.0 or 1.1. 1.1 is about 2.6 seconds faster. It's 3.3 seconds faster than Observatory, but it loses 0.7 seconds to the file name being slower to type. So if you have 1.1, congratulations, you saved yourself 2.5 seconds. Yay! But if you have 1.0, it's fine. Like it doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't matter. These timings are only for optimal execution anyway. And they're close enough that it doesn't matter, which is great because it's really hard to tell what cart you're getting. Like, you know you're getting Japanese Majora's Mask, but like, it's hard to tell from the label whether it's 1.0 or 1.1. In fact, you can't tell. So it's really nice that you can just like buy a cart and not have to worry about it. Now that we have Observatory route, the Graveyard route 1.0 was like way faster, but here the difference is only 2.5 seconds. So yeah, it's not a huge deal either way. So yeah, just order a Japanese cartridge of this game. It doesn't matter which one. And you'll be able to run any %, which is really cool. Anyway, I've babbled on for long enough, so thank you so much for watching my tutorial video, and I do plan to do a appendix video to this later, which is mostly going to show other heat manipulations that you can do. There's a couple that only take 2 bombs, plus 1 for the super slide, so I guess 3 bombs overall. So that'll be good if you want to do 1 drop. There's one that takes 5 bombs overall, including the super slide, which you can also do 1 drop with. It's just a little more complicated. I have a video on that already. And then there's a couple that take, there's one that takes 6 bombs that is slower than the one we have, but it was the fastest one up until like an hour ago when I realized that a different manip we had actually works and is really fast. So yeah, I'm just going to include that one for historical purposes, even though you probably don't want to do it. But yeah, anyway, that is it for the main tutorial video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again soon. Goodbye!